Hello, everybody, and welcome to Wayland-Cohocton High School, the site of tonight's Section 5 boys basketball matchup. It's a Class B2 semifinal matchup between number 2 Dansville and number 3 Leroy, two Livingston Conference rivals ready to square off with a chance to advance to the Blue Cross Arena this weekend for the sectional final. My name is Alex Brasky, here for the Batavia Daily News Sports Network. Should be a good game between two talented teams, as myself and Coach Dan Dickens, formerly of Calmum High School, the former Calmum boys basketball coach. We will take you through tonight's action here on the Batavia Daily News Sports Network. Had a couple of good games a few nights ago in Section 5 boys basketball and Class C2. Expecting another good one here tonight. Before we get too deep into tonight's broadcast, we'd like to first thank our sponsors, beginning with Orcon Industries. Orcon Industries, packing and shipping your fragile products is their specialty. They ensure that your products remain safe and secure so that they stay protected. Contact Orcon today for more information. Also, Bubba's Landscape. Do you need landscaping services for your home or business? Count on Bubba's Landscape in Leroy, New York. Working on residential and commercial landscapes throughout Western New York. Whether you need your driveway shoveled, a new flower bed, or your front lawn mowed, you can count on Bubba's superior attention to detail, timely completion, and competitive rates for any type of landscaping work you may need. Get an estimate today. Call 585-768-6578 to schedule landscaping and lawn maintenance for your home or business today. Also, Genesee Community College, Genesee, your path. GCC offers 60-plus affordable academic programs and over 120 scholarships for you to begin your next journey. Apply for free at genesee.edu/apply or call 866-CALL-GCC today. Also, UR Medicine, Noyes Memorial Health, high-quality care, close to home. Also, our scoreboard sponsor tonight, Casella Waste. Casella will save your business time and money on trash and recycling services. Are you looking for residential pickup at your house, a dumpster, or roll-off service for your place of business? Contact Casella Waste and check out their great rates in local waste removal. Casella is your #1 provider for all your waste and recycling needs and is always putting your waste to work. Call 585-308-0662 for a quote today. Also, Summit Family Dental Care. At Summit Family Dental Care, their dentists and staff are committed to giving you the best dental experience that Warsaw has to offer. Call their Warsaw location at 585-786-3676. We pause for a moment for the national anthem here at Wayland-Cohocton. All right, a few more sponsors to get to. Crazy Cheap Cars in Oakfield, the ultimate in price and selection. Find your next vehicle at crazycheapcars.com. At Crazy Cheap Cars, they carry the largest selection of over 150 pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs of any dealer in the Genesee region. At Crazy Cheap Cars, they need your trade-in. Top dollar paid for your trade, so give them a call at 585-948-8000, or better yet, we'll see you right here. That's my best Mike Ognebine impression, getting better as the broadcasts go. Also, The Livingston County News. Save with the LCN's deals. Get print and online for as little as $6.26 per month with our annual Easy Pay package. That's just $75.16 per year for print and online services. New or existing customers can get that deal, or you can try us online for 99 cents per month for the first 3 months. That deal is for new subscribers only. It's $9.99 per month after 3 months. You can call 585-815-1043 for more info or to subscribe over the phone. So we're getting set here as introductions are underway at Wayland-Cohocton. Dansville's starting lineup has been introduced. This is the Class B2 semifinal. Alex Brasky and Coach Dan Dickens with you on the Batavia Daily News Sports Network. Leroy's starting lineup also introduced. We'll give you that rundown here momentarily, and then we'll welcome in, Coach Dickens for his perspective on tonight's broadcast. Two teams he knows very well, having played both during his time as head coach of the Raiders. So plenty of experience against these teams does Coach Dickens have, and that should lead to a great broadcast and great analysis from the one and only Coach Dickens. But starting this game for Leroy, you see with the ball right now, you have Maverick McKenzie on the wing. You have Andrew Pocock on the opposite wing. Just passed it over on top to McKenzie was Jake Higgins. You have Gene Augusto and Merritt Holly Jr. on the interior for the Knights. For Dansville, the guards are Dawson Wadsworth and Tyler Harris. You also have Colin Gray, Ethan Canfield, and also Azan Sohail starting this game for the Mustangs. And a 3-ball connected by Andrew Pocock, and Leroy in the lead in the early going. It's a 3-0 Knights advantage. And Coach, I know I was a little long-winded there, and the folks at home want to hear your perspective on these two teams as Harris lets go of a 3, Pocock on the rebound. What's your perspective? What's your outlook for this game here tonight?
So, Alex, both these coaches known of running a very disciplined defensive style here. As you saw in that first possession, Leroy made a 3 right as the shot clock expired. Dansville's going to look to run a little bit more. Going to get a foul on the 3-point shooter here. But Dansville's going to look to run a little bit more than Leroy will. As you saw, Dansville also likes to switch their defenses. They started in a zone, definitely keying on, you-know-who, Merritt Holly Jr. out there. Azan Sohail, going to be seeing him, I think, in man, a very good defender for them, very active. When we talk about Leroy, you're going to probably see mostly man defense. They're going to have to get hands on their shooters, as you saw Harris miss the first 3 for Dansville. Dansville's a very balanced team as you look at their scoring throughout the year. We did the game against Livonia early in the season. Canfield had a really big game from that day. Guards both capable of going off. Haven't even talked about Colin Gray, a very good player for them as well, offensively and defensively. So I think we're going to have a tough, tight game here. I would say similar to that first one, maybe in the 40s.
Wellsville moved on over number 1 seed in Class B2 Cornell in the previous semifinal matchup. The winner here tonight will take on the Lions in the sectional final game at Blue Cross Arena. Jump ball called after Pocock made 1 of 3 free throws on the other end to increase the Knights' early lead to 4 points. We'll give you a quick rundown on how each team arrived at this point. You had Leroy and Dansville both earning a bye into the quarterfinal round. Leroy with a win over number 6 Bath Haverling, and Dansville with a win over number 7 Attica. And they find themselves meeting one another here tonight. And as I said, Wellsville, the number 4 seed, ousted the top seed Hornell in this bracket. And Coach, coming into this bracket, we knew that there were a lot of teams that could contend for the title as Augusto knocks it away. And Wellsville proved us correct, knocking off the number 1 seed, and now a potential 4-2, 4-3 matchup in the final.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it and you saw it. Dansville had their hands full with Attica in the quarters. Leroy took care of business a little more comfortable than I thought they would. As you see here, Pocock having all 4 for Leroy. That's a great start. You know, obviously, Dansville's main focus is on number 30, Merritt Holly Jr. One kid to watch for Leroy, who I've been impressed with all year, is Gene Augusto. he just ran the floor like he was shot out of a cannon after he blocked that shot. So I think keep your eye on him. Very impressed with how he offensive rebounds, how he runs the floor. He's really developed this year as a sophomore.
3-ball from Wadsworth, no good. Solid rebound from Higgins there, chasing it out of bounds and saving it to Holly in transition. Merritt Holly Jr. on the putback. Leroy leads it by 6, and the lid remains on the rim for Dansville. Scoreboard here at Wayland-Cohocton reads 2-0 Leroy. We know that's not correct. They'll have to get that adjusted here as the Knights enjoying their start here inside the Wayland-Cohocton Fieldhouse. Here come the Knights. Pocock, ball fake, drive to the rim. Nobody there to stop him. It's 8-0 Leroy. And a timeout called by Dansville. The number 3 Knights starting red hot and doing it without the contributions of Merritt Holly Jr., as Coach alluded to, a good sign for head coach Matt Weinman and his bunch going up against Coach Dave Moody and his Dansville crew. Once again, we'd like to thank our sponsors, beginning with Orcon Industries, also Bubba's Landscape, Genesee Community College, UR Medicine, Noyes Memorial Health, Casella Waste, Summit Family Dental Care, Crazy Cheap Cars, and also, of course, our special deals at the LCN. So in this Class B2 semifinal, Leroy has jumped out to an 8-0 lead. Andrew Pocock with 4 of the Knights' points in the early going. Gene Augusto playing some solid defense on Ethan Canfield inside. And Coach Canfield, you've been impressed by him all season long, and he really came alive for Dansville when the Mustangs needed him most. As Pocock, 7 points for the Knights. 9 points, excuse me, as I lose count here in the early going. Pocock dominating for the Knights. 9 of 11 of Leroy's points, 2 3-pointers, a layup, and a free throw. I forgot about the layup, Coach. It's been a great start for Andrew Pocock, but finally Canfield, going back to our original conversation, he's been impressive for Dansville. 20 points in the quarterfinal win for the Mustangs.
Yeah, this is getting big there, and he's scoring on a big guy with Augusto. Dansville, I mean, Andrew Pocock is a great start for Leroy, him coming out having 9 points. If you would have asked who would have scored 9 of their first 11, you would have thought it would have been Holly. So that's huge for Leroy when they're getting the contributions here from other guys besides Holly and Augusto. And I'll tell you, Pocock's had some really nice games for Leroy this year. That's big. Dansville, they needed a bucket there. They got it, but they need a stop, and they need a defensive rebound. I talked to Coach Moody before the game, and he just said, we can't give up second shots. He goes, our program works on defensive rebounding a lot. And right now, Leroy's been able to get 3 or 4 offensive putbacks. As you see Merritt Holly go through.
Canfield rejected Holly at the rim, but perhaps some body contact sends Holly Jr. to the floor, and that's going to warrant a foul call with 3:59 remaining here in the first quarter. Merritt Holly Jr. headed to the line looking for his first points early. Coach Dickens keeping the stats. I got to keep my eye on him, as that's Holly Jr.'s 3rd point here in the early going, and makes it 4 and an 11-point lead here for the Knights. So Coach keeping me on my toes. That's why we bring him in, for his expertise and diligent work here on the broadcast. Coach, it's been a joy having you on these broadcasts. Our final semifinal game that we're going to call together, as Dawson Wadsworth knocks down the 3 to cut it to an 8-point Knights lead. Augusto in transition from the block. No good. Rebounded by Gray. But, Coach, it's been an exciting run here for us on the Batavia Daily News Sports Network. Just the experience inside the gym. Packed crowds, excited fans. It's just been really a joy to watch these games.
Yeah, nothing's better than when you get to the semifinals and finals. You've got big fan bases, student bodies, kids playing their hearts out. Good rebound there by Harris coming in. So we see this, and usually in these semifinal games, teams take losses harder. In the finals, it's even a tougher loss to take. I mean, teams losing in the first round quarterfinals typically aren't as committed and invested as these teams that go on further. As you just see Holly working hard underneath. Coach Moody could not be happy with his defensive rebounding.
So the initial miss from Augusto cleaned up by Holly Jr., 5 points in the early going. It's been he and Andrew Pocock leading the way for the Knights. Harris to the rim, no good. He's sent to the floor.
So I think when Dansville with Wadsworth and Harris, they got to provide a little bit of a spark here for them. We saw Wadsworth just get left alone and hit a three. Both of them are excellent shooters. I'd like to see them use the head fake a little bit more, try to take some of the Leroy defenders off the dribble. There's going to be a little bit of a mismatch on one of them at all times. Obviously, with Leroy McKenzie plays some great defense, but you're going to have somebody out there possibly that they can exploit off the dribble, so maybe a little more patient, try to find the open man there. I will tell you, a big deficit early is not anything. Dansville led Leroy by over 20 the first time they met during the year, and it ended up being a single-digit game later in that. So expect a lot of runs here in this game as Harris hits the first one.
Nine-point lead for the Knights. Closing in on the 2-minute mark here in the first quarter. McKenzie from the free throw line, no good. Holly Jr. fumbled the rebound. Here come the Mustangs in transition. Tyler Harris at the rim. So a slow start for Dansville, but starting to find their way a bit here in the first quarter. They've cut the deficit down to 7. Inside 2 minutes to go, and the Mustangs corral on their feet. They brought quite the student section here to Wayland-Cohocton. That one is bounced into the corner for Augusto. And on the other side, you have the Cavalry, a bit less size than the Corral, but still showing school pride nonetheless, as you see McKenzie knock down the jumper for Leroy there.
So McKenzie brings a lot of great ball handling, good decision with the ball. When they can get him scoring inside, as you see the and one there, Canfield, that's going to be 2 on Augusto. That could be pretty big for Dansville. But he handles the ball. When he's hitting a mid-range jumper as well, now they've got to come out and guard him a little bit more. He knocks down a 3. They got to come out even further, which is going to open it up for Merritt Holly. Right now, the guy guarding McKenzie's laying off a little bit and helping in that lane. So that's big for Maverick and Leroy if he's going to hit some shots there, and a great shot by him.
Canfield completes the 3-point play. 5 points for the Dansville big man in the early going. 6-point lead for Leroy now. Sohail has done a nice job on Merritt Holly Jr. in the early going. Higgins at the rim, no good. Sohail on the rebound. He's been tough, and he has not been a starter for Coach Moody for much of this season, so I think that's an adjustment Coach Moody made, putting him on the floor for his energy, tenacity, and defensive effort.
Yeah, according to Coach Moody, this is his 3rd straight game that he started. He's done a great job providing defense on some of the taller guys. He plays bigger than he is. And you see it there. He's going to try to frustrate and harass Holly down in the post.
Harris for 3, no good. Holly Jr. chases it down. 35 seconds remaining here in the first quarter, and a blocking foul along the sideline. We'll keep it with the Knights. 34 on the clock now, and Kelko Kiedis is checked into the game for Leroy. Sohail continues to face guard Holly Jr. It's going to be a tall task if they ask him to do that throughout the game. It's tough following Holly Jr. around the floor. Not your typical 6'5" and above forward. He can really move, he can work the ball, and can put the ball on the floor as well. McKenzie from the wing, almost lost Wadsworth, but good recovery by the Dansville defender. Pocock off the dribble, gets it to Higgins. 5 on the game clock. Harris poking it away. Dansville with it now. 3 seconds remaining. Gray loses it. No one will get a shot up, and we head to the end of the first quarter. It's a 6-point Leroy lead here on the Batavia Daily News Sports Network. Once again, we'd like to thank our sponsors, beginning with Orcon Industries. Request a custom packaging quote from Orcon Industries Corporation. Also, Bubba's Landscape Incorporated, walkways, retaining walls, hardscapes, landscape, tree and shrubs, bed maintenance, lawn care and fertilization. Bubba's can do it all in Leroy. Also, Genesee Community College. Apply for free online at genesee.edu/apply. Over 120 scholarships offered, and 88% of full-time students receive financial aid. That's Genesee Community College. Also, UR Medicine, Noise Health, quality care close to home. That's UR Medicine, Noise Health. Also, Casella Waste will save your business time and money on trash and recycling services, and Summit Family Dental Care will also save your family money on dental care. Warsaw, Geneseo offices, summitfamilydentalcare.com. Also, Crazy Cheap Cars in Oakfield, the ultimate in price and selection. 585-948-8000. That's crazycheapcars.com. And lastly, the LCN now offering subscription deals. You can get online and print, or online only, for a very low cost. So here we are in the Class B2 semifinal. Alex Brasky and Coach Dan Dickens here with you. It's been a good start to this game. Leroy began, I believe, ahead 8-0, and then Dansville hung around, and now they've cut it to 6 to begin this second quarter of play.
Well, it was 13-2 at one point. So, like, Dansville, even though they're losing by 6 at the end of the first quarter, and we see a little trap here, caught Leroy off guard. Good job by Sohail coming up. But you see, they're down 11. It's early. This is a veteran Dansville team. They've been in the semifinals last year, all these kids. So they had some really good composure there. It's down 6 now. That's nothing. And they're going to get another layup here from Canfield. So just a great job of keeping their composure, not getting too upset. The game of runs always in sectionals.
McKenzie, offensive foul. Dawson Wadsworth sneaks in, takes the charge. Ball back to the Mustangs, and we've seen the offensive foul really play a critical role in teams gaining momentum throughout this sectional tournament, and it's always the game within the game, Coach. How officials are going to officiate the offensive foul call. It's a subjective call, and we know that some officials like to call it differently, and tonight you saw that one called. But as a coach, do you prepare for that at all? Do you kind of work the officials throughout the game to try to get a sense of that, of how the offensive foul is going to be called? Because if you're a team that likes to work that into their defensive philosophy, that's certainly something you have to pay attention to, how it's going to be called come game day.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of those things where you know what officials call. I will tell you what, we really put an emphasis on taking charges probably like 8 or 9, maybe even 10 years ago. And we would practice them. We'd bring out mats so they're not falling on their wrists and stuff like that. And we would practice it, and try to reward kids with taking them. At that point, there's only a few teams that would even take them. Right now you're seeing a lot more teams practice them because it is a big part of the game. And I think, as we saw the one there, that gives the point guard for Leroy a foul. Now he gets it a little bit more. Now you got somebody else bringing it up.
But what about the difference in each official and how they call the foul? It's a subjective call, and when you go official to official, I understand that there are fundamental principles that the officials are looking for, but you can't deny the fact that each official calls it differently throughout the course of the game. And as a coach, I'm sure you have to prepare for that as somebody who's telling their team to take so many charges, and then when you see it be called differently throughout the course of the game, maybe you pull back, maybe you go more on that. What's your perspective on that specifically? I
think you adjust as it's going on. I mean, you don't want a kid with 2 fouls trying to take a charge that could go either way. I think they've been great in the postseason. We had a 12 or 13 the other night. I think both of these bang-bang calls, I think, were right in front of Sean Laverde, who's a great official. So I think he got them both right. That's too aggressive by Sohail there. You got Holly 25 feet from the basket with his back. Just keep him there. But, that's kind of the point I would go with. And when you get here, these officials are really good. You don't see guys make the semifinals or finals. It's a reward to them, too. Just like these teams work, these officials work hard as well.
But by no means am I saying that they're calling it incorrectly, Dan. I think you're misunderstanding me. I'm saying it's a subjective call, and when you make a subjective call, each official calls it differently. That's my point that I'm trying to make.
So you have 3 guys out there, too. That's one of those things that you might tell your guys just wall off later on, but absolutely that's something to keep in your back of your mind.
McKenzie off the dribble, down the baseline, kicks it out to Pocock. Now to the high post to Kokitis, and he lays it in. Cal Kokitis getting involved. It's a 6-point lead for Leroy now. Inside 6 minutes to go here in the second quarter. Knights have led throughout this contest, but Dansville doing a nice job hanging around. Eric Luce now into the game for the Knights. Also a sub on for Dansville, Reed Martin, another contributor for this Mustangs team. And you see Martin collect the rebound there to gain the Mustangs an extra possession. Gray from the wing. Stops, pops from the corner, no good. Another rebound to Martin and a tie-up. This one's going to stay with the Mustangs as well. 2 extra possessions created by a man off the bench. You can't ask for anything more than that.
Yeah, Martin's the one who was starting that Sohail kind of replaced, so you love to see a kid that wants to be back out there and earns the minutes. You always tell kids it's not who starts and who finishes the game. And a great job by Martin. That's how you get more minutes.
4-point lead for Leroy now. Good finish from Gray there. And Gray is really, in my mind, the driving force, the most consistent force for this Dansville team. Just his size, strength, athleticism, and skill. The combination just provides a lethal threat for this Mustangs team, and he's really as steady as they go in terms of his mentality as well.
Yeah, I mean, he's, when you take a look at Dansville, like I said, they're pretty balanced, but Gray is the first one that stands out. I mean, offensively, defensively, he rebounds, he passes well, he defends, he does a little bit of everything there. So good patience on that one by Canfield, not forcing it.
Harris down the lane, kicks it out to Canfield. That's not where you want Canfield with the ball. But he hands it off to Wadsworth down the lane. Shot clock running out, forces it up. And that's going to be a shot clock violation. Nice defensive possession there for Leroy.
Yeah, great job there. I mean, here, they're not bailing anybody out. If you're in defensive position and the offensive guy is out of control. We saw it down at this end with Holly on the last possession. One thing I'd look out, Cohocton had a bucket a few trips ago. He's going to have to step up with a gusto out. So good to see him get a bucket for them.
McKenzie on the drive. Pocock has it on the wing now. Gray guarding him closely. Loose, up top to McKenzie, left alone. Maverick McKenzie, another three-pointer for Leroy, and it's a 7-point advantage for the Knights. Leroy's exhibited some hot shooting here in the early going. Cohocton getting involved, Pocock getting involved. You see McKenzie knocking down his shots as Wadsworth misses the reverse layup, and now McKenzie will look to push. Ahead to Cohocton. A lot of contact, offensive foul. Tyler Harris takes the charge, and we're going the other way. But back to what I was just saying, and you've mentioned it throughout the broadcast, Coach, when Leroy is having so many other contributors chip in here, that's really what Coach Weinman has been searching for throughout the season. It hasn't always been consistently there in terms of their depth scoring, but they're getting it tonight.
Yeah, I mean, McKenzie hitting a three, that's something that Coach Weinman's not even expecting to happen, but, it's been big. Now Dansville's going to have to guard him a little tighter.
Canfield misses the bunny inside. 2 missed layups in a row for Dansville.
I tell you, that's going to be a good call. He got it on the arm. But one of the other things here with when we talk about Leroy and the extended, now they're going to have to extend out, so that should give Holly a little bit more room to work. Coach Moody talked about keeping Merritt under 15 points, that was his goal. He has 7 now going to the line. So this is going to be interesting here, but, getting more scoring from Pocock, Cohocton, McKenzie, when Leroy can get more scoring, it's big for them.
You see Coach Moody unhappy with that foul call near the rim, or I should say lack of foul call. I believe he wanted to charge and then thought it was a bit light of a call on Holly Jr. Gray on the rebound. Here's Wadsworth with it now. Missed opportunity for Holly there. A rare missed opportunity for Merritt Holly Jr. And here is Dansville. 3 minutes remaining in the second quarter. The Castellaway scoreboard reads 22-15. Leroy in the lead over the number 2 Mustangs. Number 3, Leroy looking to punch its ticket to the sectional final. Gray fading away from the corner. No good. Merritt Holly Jr. on the rebound. Leroy's last title came in 2003. The Knights not known for their basketball prowess. They always have a quality team, but not many championship level squads have come through Leroy over the years, and the talent on this team has gotten Coach Weinman excited throughout the season, and now one step away from the final I'm sure he's chomping at the bit for this group to get an opportunity at that sectional block.
Yeah, talking with him, it's just last year was his first win in sectionals. Leroy went 5 or 6 years without a sectional win. He's also a Leroy alum and played on the sectional title team in 2003. So obviously it means quite a bit to him. I was unaware of the fact that Leroy's only been in 2 sectional finals in the history of their basketball program. So chance to go to their third. Now you want one more better than that, Alex. Talking with Coach Moody today, Dansville's never been in a sectional final, never once in an appearance. So this is Coach Moody's third sectional semifinal, third opportunity to do that. I know how much it means to him. Also a Dansville alum. Both guys hard workers. It's tough. It's tough up here watching both of them, knowing how much they put into both of their programs. I mean, when Dansville, when I first started coaching, Dansville didn't really have a whole lot coming through as far as like feeder programs and stuff, and now Coach Moody's got a lot going, a lot of excitement, as you can see with all the student body here.
So both of these teams looking to reset the history books with a title this season. Number 2 Dansville, number 3 Leroy, locking horns at Wayland-Cohocton High School in the B2 semifinal, as Harris appeared to have thrown that one away, but Gray, Johnny on the spot there to collect the loose ball before we're going the other way following the offensive foul called against Ethan Canfield. That's his second here with 2 minutes remaining in the second quarter. And it looks like Coach Moody is going to have Canfield take a seat so he doesn't pick up his third as Reese Dixon checks into the game, and Canfield will take a seat. I think that's a smart move. You're trailing by 7. This is dangerous territory here. You don't want the Knights to swell their lead, too large here, but you certainly don't want Canfield to pick up his third foul. If you do that, you handcuff yourself for 16 minutes of the second half.
Yeah, and it's harder for big guys than it is for guards. Guards can lay off a little bit. Guards can not reach, those types of things. Big guys are evolved. Sometimes you just trip over yourself. You end up bouncing into somebody. I'll tell you, Leroy getting some great contributions from guys that just increases their chances of winning. You see Luce with a great box out going to the line, although he misses. Thought Parker Dowell played some great defense a few possessions ago. So Leroy getting good production from their guys off the bench, and that's always needed in sectional games.
Dixon's first time into the game tonight. He's got plenty of athleticism, can also put it in the hole. Harris feeds it to Dixon, who lays it in. What do you think? His ears were ringing, Coach?
I think so. Either that or he just was like, well, I just sat on the bench for almost two quarters. I'm going to get the ball and put it in. But a great find on that by Wadsworth, leaving him open for the layup.
Dansville has it within 5 with Canfield on the bench. And the turnover committed by the Knights looked like that one went off the leg of the ball handler. And Dowell's going to check in now. Kokitis will head back to the bench. It's a critical spot for Dansville, excuse me. Stumbling over my words tonight, Coach. It's been a long week. I apologize. But for Dansville, this is a critical stretch. 1.5 minutes remaining. Trailing by 5, you could tie, you could cut it to 2. And you were once trailing by quite a bit, so I think Coach Moody loves where his team's at right now.
Yeah, I mean, if you would have asked him during the day if he'd be all right down 5 with 1 minute to go in the first half, he's going to tell you not a chance. But how this game started, 13-2, they're fine. I mean, we've watched teams come back. We've seen better second half. Sometimes you got a little nerves. Good entry pass there by Wadsworth.
Few misses at the rim for Dansville in this first half. And that one from Gray, although it was contested. McKenzie to the rack. Reese Dixon asserting himself in the brief time that he's been on the floor. A bucket and now a big block.
Yeah, just a great job of being active. I mean, it looked like it was going to be a layup coming over, protecting that rim. Gives Dansville a chance to hunker down here. Like I said, they're tough in the half court defensively.
Inbound to Luce. Back to McKenzie. He's got the hot hand. No good off the back iron. Holly elevating for the rebound and the putback. Merritt Holly Jr. puts Leroy back in front by 7. 40 seconds remaining here in the second quarter. Dansville student section getting involved here, trying to will their team to a strong finish in this first half. The Leroy bench chanting itself here. Good high school basketball atmosphere inside the gymnasium at Wayland-Cohocton. Free ball put up by Harris. He's been cold in the early going. And now here comes Leroy with 15 seconds left and the shot clock off. 10 seconds remaining. Leroy looking to slow it down, searching for the last shot of the second quarter. McKenzie on the wing, on the drive. Penetration, kick to Dowell. Into the corner for loose. Three ball. No good. We head to halftime. Leroy sporting a 7-point lead at the break. We'll take a quick break here on the Batavia Daily News Sports Network. We'll be back with the second half of action in about 10 minutes' time. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Wayland-Cohocton High School, the site of tonight's Class B2 semifinal matchup between number 3 Leroy, which is leading number 2 Dansville by 7 at the break. It was an anemic effort from Dansville offensively, 17 points throughout the first 2 quarters. They couldn't find any semblance of a rhythm, Coach.
Yeah, this is, like I talked earlier, I think this is a game that's going to be in the 40s. So even though they played poorly on offense, I think like they're not out of this. I think we might see them try to isolate Gray a little bit here to try to get him going. And that might open up, if he can get going, that's going to open up some clean looks for Wadsworth and Harris. And the same thing, too. I think Canfield occupies Augusta. It'll be interesting to see what we do here. Dansville coming out in zone, very active. Wadsworth doing a great job talking.
Bocock, nice post entry into Holly Jr., but he had it ripped away. Here comes Tyler Harris, who pulls it back out, slows the break for the Mustangs, now into the hands of Dawson Wadsworth. Harris back with it on the wing, guarded closely by Higgins. Lobbed inside, far too much mustard on it, as Pocock comes away with the takeaway for the Knights. That was just an errant pass.
Yeah, I think when you're at the block for that long, there's going to be somebody with help side defense. I don't think that's a really good decision right there. Nice spin move by Augusto there to open this back up to 9. One of the things I would tell you when Holly got the ball 2 possessions ago, he didn't get double teamed, he didn't get triple teamed. There's 4 guys that surrounded him to poke that ball around. So he's going to earn anything he gets in the paint, that's for sure.
Gray to the rim, another inside look missed by Dansville. That's their 4th layup missed tonight.
Yeah, they can't afford Colin Gray making a great first step off the dribble, missing that layup.
Holly Jr., the lob is true from McKenzie, but solid defense on the backside by Canfield. Takes it away for the Mustangs. Here comes Dansville, trailing by 9. 6:20 remaining here in the 3rd quarter. It's been all Leroy in this game. They led by 8 to start, 8-0. 13-2 was then your score, and they've since held on to their advantage while Dansville has fluctuated it from 7 back upward of 10, but now once again cut to a 7-point lead and a foul called against Soheil. And that's Soheil's 4th foul already, Coach. That just goes to show you the effort that he puts forth and his commitment to contesting every drive and every shot at the rim.
Yeah, he's out there to try to frustrate, and that's going to be Canfield's 3rd with a push in the back of Holly.
So Dansville in a bit of foul trouble here.
Yeah, I mean, he had the double come down. I think Harris stepped in front, a little bit too aggressive right in front of the official there. Dansville going to stay in this zone here. Wadsworth very aggressive out top on McKenzie, trying to get him a little out of rhythm. So notice they're not going to leave Holly at all. Somebody's going to be with him.
Canfield rejects Augusto at the rim, but he gets his own rebound and puts it back. Great gusto shown by Augusto on the putback.
Yeah, he's a great offensive rebounder. And the thing with Canfield with 3 fouls, really going to be hesitant when those rebounds come off, but he's got to get a body, and if he's going to stay out there with 3, he's got to play harder than that. Great defense by Harris.
Harris diving after the loose ball, but unable to corral it. It will stay with the Knights here. 5:05 remaining here in the 3rd quarter. Higgins tried to get it into the corner for Holly Jr. He thought it was tipped. Officials didn't see it that way. It will go to the Mustangs now. So once again, winner of this game advances to take on Wellsville in the Class B2 final. Wellsville defeated top seed Cornell in the early game tonight at Wayland-Cohocton. Wadsworth fading away from the corner, no good. Pocock on the rebound. Here comes McKenzie with it now.
A little too aggressive on that one. The time before, I thought he did a good job of getting a good step and a half in front of him. That one, he just came in, not in legal guard and position. I will tell you one thing. When you play somebody, you start to know some of their sets, and you know what they're trying to do. And Dansville has a great playbook for their offense. And Leroy, it looks like, knows what's coming, and they're doing a great job of helping.
My apologies on that last lay-in from Augusto. I gave the wrong team the points, but Merritt Holly Jr. adding to the Knights' lead here. It's up to 11. 30-19 is your score on the Casella Way scoreboard. 4:32 remaining here in the third quarter. But all Leroy, and it continues to be, as Dansville just really hasn't been able to put forth, as I said in the first half, any sort of offensive rhythm. Their possessions seem disjointed. They don't seem to be getting the looks that they want on a regular basis, and credit the Leroy defense for disrupting what they're attempting to do offensively.
Yeah, I mean, they're very active. Higgins closing out hard there. Great job by Leroy on their closeouts, not getting beat off the dribble. Tap head's going to be an isolation up top.
And a travel called against the Mustangs. It goes back to the Knights, and a timeout called by Dansville as they sense this one slipping away, nearing the midpoint of this third quarter. Once again, we'd like to thank our sponsors here on the Batavia Daily News Sports Network, beginning with Orcon Industries. Orcon Industries, packaging and shipping your fragile products is their specialty. At Orcon Industries, they ensure that your products remain safe and secure so that they stay protected. Contact Orcon today for more information. Also, Bubba's Landscape. Do you need landscaping services for your home or business? Count on Bubba's Landscape in Leroy, New York. Working on residential and commercial landscapes throughout Western New York. Whether you need your driveway shoveled or new flower beds for your front lawn, you can count on Bubba's superior attention to detail, timely completion, competitive rates for any kind of landscaping work you may need. Get an estimate today. Call 585-768-6578 to schedule landscaping and lawn maintenance for your home or business. Also, Genesee Community College, Genesee, your path. GCC offers 60-plus affordable academic programs and over 120 scholarships for you to begin your next journey. Apply for free at genesee.edu/apply or call 866-CALL-GCC today. Also, UR Medicine, Noise Health, high-quality care, close to home. I have a few more sponsors to get to. We'll do that at the next stoppage. But with 4:09 remaining, Leroy takes over possession out of the timeout.
It's a big 4 minutes here for Dansville. They got to get something going offensively. Coach Moody very positive in the timeout.
Gene Augusto with the ball fake and the finish. Largest lead of the game for Leroy. It's 14 points. We've crossed the midpoint here in the third quarter. Augusto heading to the line, looking to make it a three-point play. And, Coach, I'll tell you what. We watched Augusto early this season, and to see the development from this young man throughout the course of the season, he's got a post game now. He's got a whole series of post moves, and that's allowed him to not only be the defensive threat that he's always been and a threat on the boards, but he's really improved his offensive game.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things when you have a pretty good-sized coaching staff, Leroy's got 4 guys on their staff.
Gray from the free throw line.
Got the father-son Macaluso, Peter Buska helping out. You can break down a lot of things. You can get a lot more working in individuals. Obviously, that's paid off for him. He's having a great game tonight. Big basket there by Gray. He's got to get going if Dansville's going to have a chance to come back and win this.
Pocock rattles it home. 15-point lead for Leroy. Andrew Pocock having himself a night.
Yeah, his play tonight has been outstanding. I mean, he's going to have a lot of confidence the rest of this way. I mean, it's his third 3 already. I've got him up to 14 points. We're going to get a...
Looks like a defensive foul being called on Leroy against Pocock. It's going to be 2 shots coming up for Gray. Higgins down in a heap, holding what I'll determine is midsection, but could be a bit lower than that. Hoping for the best for Higgins here. As we'll take a break, we'll tell you about the rest of our sponsors Casella Waste, your #1 service provider for all your waste and recycling needs. Are you looking for residential pickup at your house, a dumpster, or roll-off service for your place of business? Call Casella Waste and check out their great rates on local waste removal. Casella is your #1 provider for all your waste and recycling needs, and as always, putting your waste to work. Higgins has risen to his feet, makes his way off the floor under his own power. We'd also like to thank Summit Family Dental Care. Our dentists and staff at Summit Family Dental Care are committed to giving you the best dental experience that Warsaw has to offer. Like any trusting relationship, their care begins with getting to know each other. At Summit Family Dental Care, their highest priority is providing the quality dental services you deserve in a comfortable, convenient atmosphere. Call their Warsaw location at 585-786-3676 or visit them online at summitfamilydentalcare.com. Also, Crazy Cheap Cars, the ultimate in price and selection. Find your next vehicle at crazycheapcars.com. Crazy Cheap Cars carries the largest selection of over 150 pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs of any dealer in the Genesee region. That's crazycheapcars.com. You can call them at 948-8000, or better yet, we'll see you right here. A little weak on the impression there, Coach.
Not your best, but not your worst, I'll tell you that. Coach Moody, I'm telling you, still staying positive. One of the most positive coaches that you will find in Section 5. This Dansville team, like I said, I mean, they got to finish this quarter. You get it under 10. I thought we might see a zone press out of them. It looks like they are going to look to run and jump off of this. Try to get something going, not leaving Holly.
Loose. Hands it off to Pocock. Leroy in the front court now. That one knocked away by Harris. Pocock unexpecting of the steal from the Mustangs guard. And that's the 5th layup missed by Dansville here tonight. That's been a critical miss for Dansville here. Just their consistent misses inside.
Yeah, I said this the other night. I'm not a huge fan of the Euro step, and I think on that one he should have just went up and laid it in, but ended up short-arming it a little bit. Yeah, they're going to get a third on Augusto there. He had Canfield enough. I think he had him 12 feet away from the basket. Just let him catch it there. I don't think that's where Canfield's really that comfortable, but he's got to be smart here. He doesn't want to pick up his 4th before the 4th quarter starts.
13-point lead for Leroy now. Nearing the 2-minute mark of this 3rd quarter. Dansville needs a run, and they need it soon. It's been all Leroy here tonight. Their defense creating offense while also shutting down the Mustangs' offense.
Yeah, and again, nice defense, good help there. They've got him pushed out about 10 feet with Canfield. He's more comfortable in that inside the paint, more 5 feet and going to the hoop. So great job by Augusto there. Good help by McKenzie as well.
McKenzie all the way to the rim. Nice ball fake. Lifts Canfield off his feet. And that's going to be Canfield's 4th foul. So Sohail with 4. Canfield with 4. Knights 1 away from entering the bonus. And McKenzie heads to the line for 2 shots here. And misses the first. Looks like Dixon's going to check back in, and Canfield's going to take a break here as Dansville in dangerous territory, but Canfield looking to be preserved here with those 4 fouls.
Yeah, I mean, I love Dixon's athletic ability out there, but, you know, they lose a lot of that Canfield can do the bigger body stuff. You know, it's a 14-point game. They still got 9.5 minutes left. We saw the other night, Oakfield was down 13 with less than 4 minutes to go into the game. So far from over. I think they're going to have to try to get some turnovers, and maybe that full court press or trap maybe can disrupt Leroy a little bit. But the problem is, if you don't get back, you got Augusto and Holly, and they've been kind of mismatched with some of these guards trying to guard them. And you saw great patience by Augusto a couple trips ago. So Dansville's going to have to knock down some shots. Going to have to get something maybe in transition or turnovers here to get back, cut this deficit down from 14 and get it to single digits, hopefully before the quarter for them.
Wadsworth up top to Gray. Wadsworth fading away from the wing, no good. Another disjointed possession for the Mustangs. And it goes to the Knights. I just don't think Dansville's getting what it's looking for more often than not. They're a little bit discombobulated out there, and it's definitely due to Leroy's solid help side defense.
Yeah, Leroy's game plan, taking away the lane and having a lot of help, and it's worked perfectly. Even when Dansville's trying to cut off of screens and stuff, there's guys bumping them, so all the rhythm's thrown off. And, we talked about both these coaches being very good defensive coaches. I think you've had Leroy knock some jumpers down with some of their other guys, Pocock and McKenzie. Dansville's got to have some people knock down some jumpers because everything's tough in the paint tonight.
And they've been ice cold from the perimeter here tonight. Gray, another 3 off the mark. Harris and Wadsworth, typically 2 3-point threats, have not been able to find the range. Harris has been a relative non-factor on the offensive end, and that's not a good sign for Dansville, as he's typically one of their most impressive threats on the offensive end. Dixon to the rim, lays it in. Down to a 12-point Leroy lead, inside 20 seconds remaining here in the third quarter. Martin to Wadsworth on the wing. Dixon on the block, had it knocked away. McKenzie diving after it. And with 2 seconds remaining, Holly Jr. has it to the rim. No good. And the Dansville faithful wanted to charge there. So yelling at the officials, a sport for some people in the crowd tonight.
Yeah, hey, open invitations every year. I know Board 60 up in Rochester, Board 165, I believe it is, down here in Steuben County, always looking for guys. I mean, we seem to have some experts here. There's no doubt about that. So a couple of them, though, I'm not sure they can get up and down the floor taking a look at them from here, so might be interesting. All schools have AEDs.
Wish they had muzzles as well on hand for some in attendance. Here we go, 8 minutes remaining in this Class B2 semifinal matchup. Once again, we'll thank our sponsors, Orcon Industries. Also, Bubba's Landscape. Genesee Community College. UR Medicine, Noise Memorial Health. Casella Waste. Summit Family Dental Care. And Crazy Cheap Cars. Alex Brasky and Coach Dan Dickens with you. This is the Batavia Daily News Sports Network. It's been all Leroy here tonight, Coach. They've led from the moment they created that 8-0 advantage to start the game, led by Andrew Pocock's early surge, and he's continued to produce, and a host of others on this night's roster have come through with productive performances. Nice look inside to Martin, but once again, a missed opportunity inside the paint for Dansville.
Yeah, great play there to get Harris on the slip, but great defense also on the help, making it tough. I mean, I'm telling you right now, if Dansville doesn't keep anybody in front of them, they can get the baseball mitts out sooner than later, and Coach Hober will be having batting practice upstairs in Dansville. So probably a good time out here by Coach Moody. 14-point lead with 7:30 to go. They've got to keep people in front of them. Like, they're not stopping anybody, just allowing Leroy to just go by and get easy opportunities.
Yeah, like you said, it's difficult to create that transition and extra offense that Dansville has been searching for tonight when you're not getting the stops on the defensive end. And you're really allowing Leroy to penetrate their way into the lane and get the ball inside. It will. It really makes it difficult both on the defensive end, and then it makes it difficult for you then to go the length of the floor offensively after maybe a missed look inside. That gives the chance for the defense to get back rather than a long rebound. It's really been very easy for Leroy to get the ball inside. They haven't been forced to put up too many perimeter shots, but when they have been able to knock them down.
Yeah, I mean, what Holly dribble there, 60 feet, their best player, dribbles 3/4 of the court and nobody stops the ball and he gets a layup. Like, that's just not a recipe for winning for here. And it's, it's not lack of effort. I think they're maybe just being a little overly aggressive here. And that's what happens sometimes. You're trying to make something happen down 12. You got to take it one possession at a time and try to chop at it a little bit, not all in once.
So here are the Mustangs trying to work their way back. 14-point deficit. They've trailed by as many as 15 here tonight. Rebound goes to Gray, and a big jumper from Gray. And a whistle blown as Higgins once again going to his eye. I think that was what the injury may have been to his right eye, as when he exited the court earlier, he was kind of going to that eye, and now once again kind of rubbing at it, causing the official to make sure that he's okay. In the era of head injuries, you want to make sure that's an eye injury, not a head injury. And that's a great job closing in the passing lane from Reed Martin. It looked like Leroy was going to have Augusta wide open in the short corner.
Yeah, again, I thought they didn't keep McKenzie in front of them, but a good job, great hustle by Martin to get back into that passing lane. But again, they come up empty. Leroy slowing it down here, going to take their time, get a good offensive high percentage shot. Or turn it over.
Oh, and they keep. Oh, timeout Leroy. As Higgins saved it along the baseline. And Leroy was awarded a timeout. So they did not get the high percentage look that Coach Dickens predicted, but they do maintain possession. 24 seconds on the shot clock, 6:32 on the game clock here at Wayland-Cohocton. This is one of two matchups tonight on the Batavia Daily News Sports Network. Batavia Notre Dame fell to Pavilion 51-42 in the Class C2 semifinal. Pavilion on its way to its second straight sectional final game. And they will take on the winner of Lions and Dundee Bradford. And I saw Lions play earlier this season. Caleb Bell, a sophomore guard for them, mighty impressive. They're coached by Calvin Betts, a Section 5 Hall of Famer and 1,000-point scorer at UB, I believe. So they have the coaching, does Lions. They also have the talent on their roster surrounding Bell. So that's going to be a tough out for Pavilion. They do have the experience, Carly Zinkovich and Lauren Kingsley, one of the most talented dynamic duos in all of Section 5 girls basketball. But depth has been a concern for Pavilion this year. They did appear to get the scoring they needed tonight. I'll have to check the box score, but scoring 50 points against a tough Notre Dame team, that leads me to believe that Coach Ben Schwanebraten got contributions from a host of his athletes, and that's what it's going to take from Pavilion if they hope to win their second straight title over the vaunted Lions, who I expect will take out Dundee Bradford. That's not a guarantee, as Dundee Bradford has performed well this season as well as the 4 seed.
Yeah, that was I saw Coach McCulley for Notre Dame last week. Very confident and impressed with how his girls have been playing down the stretch. And on the contrary, I thought Pavilion girls were a little bit more inconsistent. But in these one-game situations, you just need to play your best. One game to advance. It's heartbreak for Notre Dame. The girls were expecting big things. But, like I said, it's competitive sports. And, hats off to Pavilion for putting together a solid effort. And when you're a defending champion, it's harder to knock them off than it is anybody. Yeah.
Dixon is fouled in the lane. He'll head to the line for 2 shots with Dansville trailing by 14. And it's the loss for Notre Dame signals the end of Amelia McCulley's career at Notre Dame, a 1,000-point scorer for the Irish. She endured some injury struggles last season, missed out on her team's sectional championship run. She did lead her team to a sectional title the year before she was injured, so this could have been the 3rd straight title trip for the Irish. Instead, they fall short, and just a disappointing finish for one of the top players in the region since she was in 8th grade. And to miss a full season and to have a season shortened due to COVID and still eclipse 1,000 points. Just an incredible effort from Amelia McCulley, and I'm sure they'll remember her efforts at Notre Dame for quite some time.
Yeah, absolutely. And, even though she didn't participate in the one season, still a big part of it. Like, it's difficult for somebody when they're injured coming to practice and just being a great teammate. And that's, having watched them play a couple times, like, she was always a great teammate, just a great player. And, like we've already said, when these games, semifinals, finals, you're going to see some great high school careers come to an end, and it's always sad. You're going to see it. One team's going to be ecstatic, the other team's going to be crying in these situations. Nice pass.
Travel called on Augusto. Guys and the fans got that one right, Coach.
Yeah, it was a great pass by Luz. Just Augusto shuffled them a little bit there.
5:44 remaining here in the fourth. 13-point lead for Leroy. They've protected the double-digit advantage for quite some time now. But Dawson Wadsworth connects on the three, cuts it to 10, pumps his fist. That could be the strike that Dansville's looking for to ignite the match here.
Yeah, that's a big-time shot by him to get it to 10. Almost got a 10 count there. I've watched him go off for 5 or 6 threes in a game, so maybe that'll give him a little confidence here. I'd still like to see him get a little transition to knock this down.
Eric Luce off the back iron. Tough rebound there from Canfield. He is so valuable on the floor. Foul trouble has certainly played a part in Dansville's lack of production here on both ends of the floor. Although their defensive effort has been solid, they have struggled to keep Merritt Holly out of the lane, and a lot of that has been when Canfield has been on the bench.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. We've talked about this a few times now. Foul trouble plays a big role in sectionals because, let's face it, I mean, you get deeper onto your bench with foul trouble. You got guys that just aren't as good offensively, maybe not as good defensively. That's a great pass by Wadsworth.
And a great job creating the position by Gray. That's like the definition of a fundamental seal right there inside on the block.
Yeah, good job using his body. They're going to get Harris here. They're all right. I would have liked to see Dixon try to challenge this cross-court pass. He is athletic. He could go get that, especially down 8. I know the Dansville crowd not too happy with this one, but, sometimes the ball won't lie either. So McKenzie going to the line here for Leroy.
Late add on the last couple of points there for Dansville. Trying to do a lot here on the Batavia Daily News Sports Network. Provide you the play-by-play, work the camera and the scoreboard. So sometimes that leads to a few slip-ups with the camera frame and a little bit slow on the uptake on the scoreboard. But I want to let you know we're doing our best here to provide you what Dansville fans, are hoping is going to turn into a classic game down the stretch here. They trail by 8. They've trailed by as many as 15. 4.5 minutes remaining. Still plenty of time for Dansville to tie and perhaps take the lead here in the fourth quarter.
That's going to be 4 on Augusto there. Brought a couple guys out. Good flash by Canfield. Still not in the bonus. They're going to take Augusto out. It might be a good opportunity here for Canfield. Should be able to get going, but Cohocton gave them some great minutes in the first half. They're going to switch, put Holly on Canfield. I think that's a must here just to get a little bit bigger. Big possession for Dansville.
Now, Coach, a good point brought to my attention by Batavia Daily News sports writer Nate Ryder. As Wadsworth spots up Merritt Holly Jr. on the rebound. How much can it take out of an offense when you spend so much time, effort, and concentration trying to shut down a talented player such as Holly Jr.? You spend so much time in practice and in your conversations focusing on that, and during the game, that's really the basis of your game plan, and that can sometimes take somewhat away from the offensive end. Is there any validity to that?
Yeah, I mean, you game plan, but you've got to have adjustments if other guys start going off. I mean, obviously anybody that's going to play Leroy is going to start with stopping Merritt Holly Jr. Seeing a little bit of physical activity here down the stretch, you got to get that rebound no matter where it heads.
Pocock off the side of the backboard. And the loose ball will go to Dansville, trailing by 8 with 3:38 remaining and a timeout coming from Leroy. Once again, we'd like to thank our sponsors here. Beginning with Orcon Industries. Request a custom packaging quote. Also, Bubba's Landscape Incorporated. Walkways, retaining walls, hardscapes, landscape, tree and shrubs, bed maintenance, and lawn care fertilization. Also, Genesee Community College, Genesee, your path. Apply for free at genesee.edu/apply. Also, UR Medicine, Noyes Memorial Health, along with Casella Waste. And Summit Family Dental Care. You can reach them at summitfamilydentalcare.com. Visit their Warsaw office. You can call them at 585-786-3676. Also, Crazy Cheap Cars. That's crazycheapcars.com. And, Coach, I guess what I was asking was, when you spend so much time and effort trying to stop Holly Jr., does that limit your ability to spend as much concentration on the offensive end? You can only focus on one end of the floor so much at some points, and when you're focusing so much on stopping Holly Jr., sometimes you don't have that same commitment on the offensive end or that same concentration and focus.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's more of an execution thing maybe tonight, to be honest with you. I mean, you've got a few days to practice from your semifinal game. I just think, like, they're not executing offensively. They're a little bit out of sync from times in the past when I've watched them. And again, you can't, I mean, you're going to give up some other shots to other guys. They've hit them. Leroy's had some kids step up, make some big plays for them, and that's been a huge difference here.
Great from the top of the key, no good. Holly Jr. collects the rebound. .320 remaining here in the fourth quarter. Leroy protecting its 8-point advantage. Dansville trying to advance to its first sectional final in program history. The Knights trying to advance to its first sectional title since 2003. Title game, excuse me. Canfield at the rim and the finish. Dansville's within 6, Coach.
Yeah, I mean, good patience there. Canfield not panicking, getting the ball. I tell you right now, Leroy, I'd like to see McKenzie go get the ball in his hands here. He's the point guard. Get him in the set. Coach Wyman's calling something over there. You know, down to 6 here. This Dansville's got to dig in right now and not give up a cheap hoop.
Little bit of a slow stretch here for the Leroy offense. Credit Dansville's defensive effort ramping up here in the fourth quarter. 2:20 remaining. Pocock, desperation 3. No good at the end of the shot clock. Reese Dixon collects the rebound. Here come the Mustangs. Trailing by 6. Harris puts it on the floor, shuffles it to Dixon. Knocks down the short jumper. Reese Dixon has been critical for the Mustangs here tonight. 6 points for the Mustangs forward. It's a 4-point Leroy lead. That's their slightest advantage in quite some time. The Mustangs on the charge.
Yeah, great ball fake there by Harris to beat his guy to. Now he drew Kalkitis over. The help from the backside was a little slow getting to Dixon. Dixon's played great for them. You get a guy coming off the bench and just providing some spark, and he's been getting some defensive rebounds. Now he scored 6 points for them as well. Like, that's all unexpected production from him, and that is what role players do. They step up in big moments, and Reese Dixon's been big for them. I think Leroy's got to just have a really good offensive player. I think they're focusing a little bit too much sometimes with Holly in the post, just trying to post up. Maybe have Augusto set a screen. You're going to get a big body on him. Now you've got maybe some help coming, so maybe you can slip Augusto. I think just trying to post him up and all offense being facilitated from outside the arc is not a really good series right here for Leroy. So I expect them to have a little bit more movement, trying to get some cross-screen action with possibly a slip action here. Dansville is very aggressive out on the perimeter, so they might catch them falling asleep. They might be able to slip one. Like I said, this is going to be a battle. I thought it'd be in the 40s. We got 41-37 with 2 minutes go. Both teams going to leave it all out there for this last 2 minutes and 6 seconds.
.206 remaining. 4-point lead for the Knights. And they nearly threw it away. Higgins works it up the floor to Augusto. And the Knights will pull it back out after beating the Mustangs' pressure. Inside 2 minutes remaining. McKenzie gets it away to Pocock. Left alone on the wing momentarily. And Leroy looks a little bit discombobulated now. A little bit of a role reversal over the past couple of minutes. Dansville doing a much better job penetrating and finding offense inside while Leroy has struggled to do so, and like you alluded to, settling on the outside shot.
That's a great play by Gray there to get out and contest. Now the ball is going to be inbounded from the sideline. A lot easier to get into some stuff from underneath to get a quick look. Now they got 10 on the shot clock. Coach Moody is imploring his guys to give their best defensive effort.
Harris pushed him down from behind, a little bit too much contact there, and that will send McKenzie to the line for 1-1. The 9th team foul called against the Mustangs. The next team foul called against the Mustangs will send the Knights to the line for 2 shots. So 1-1 here from McKenzie, trying to increase it from a 4-point advantage. 1:40 remaining here in the 4th. Harris has 4 fouls. Canfield has 4 fouls. Sohail has 4 fouls. But McKenzie misses the front half. Dixon, the awkward looking attempt near the rim. He didn't have the angle and missed the rim completely. Critical miss there for the Mustangs. They could have taken advantage on the missed free throw from McKenzie on the front end of the 1-1. 1:20 remaining now. McKenzie guarded closely by Harris, and that's his 5th foul. And I'll tell you what, Coach, that's a cheap call for somebody's 5th foul with 1:16 remaining in the 4th quarter of a 4-point game in a semifinal. A little bit of body contact on the perimeter. I'm sure you could have let that one go.
Yeah, it looked like he was going to be beat on that to start with. Again, we got McKenzie going to the line for Dansville here. That they're getting the sub coming in. Looks like Nate Gardner coming in for Dansville, but McKenzie's missed his last 2. Neither one of them looked that great from here. He does get 2 opportunities now. Maybe he'll get into a little rhythm. Tough way for Harris there. As a senior, you hate to see him go out on that, but that's basketball. All right.
McKenzie on the mark when it matters most, increasing it to a 5-point Knights advantage, and no doubt these officials have done an excellent job here tonight. It's not to take away anything from their effort, but that is a cheap call to eliminate a senior from a 4-point game at the time in the 4th quarter of a semifinal. Inside to Canfield, and Dansville responds quickly. That's exactly what they needed. 1:08 remaining here in the 4th quarter. The quick response from the Mustangs has it right back down to a 4-point lead for Leroy.
Yeah, that's just a great job by Wadsworth, just attacking, because they got to go quick. Poor job by Leroy. Again, just keep them in front of you at this point. Make them have to make some jumpers. He penetrates. Holly comes over to help, or Augusto came over to help, and it just left Canfield there. Same thing, too. I know they're worried about perimeter here. It's easy to make a wide-open layup like that than it is to hit a guy closing out on 3. So maybe the help side defense has to be a little bit more active. Now, with this being said here, Dansville down 4. They've been extending a little bit with some type of a zone type thing, but they're sticking with Holly. I don't think they want to lose him. Got to give McKenzie credit. Like I said, he did not look great on his previous 2, and on those 2, looked very confident. So, I was thinking if he missed those ones, that might be a guy they might want to follow a little early. Right now, it's probably going to play defense, try to get it back, and then try to push, try to get something to the basket. If you don't have something to the basket, maybe kick it out. And you got to be careful, though, in transition. Just don't go fast without a plan. The two possessions ago when they threw it to Dixon, great athletic play to get out and run, but I think they threw it a little late, didn't have an angle at the basket. So Leroy's thrown a couple cross-court passes here where I think the Dansville backside guy at half court's got to be more aggressive and maybe go after one.
1:08 remaining here in the 4th quarter. Leroy set to inbound. McKenzie collects it, working it up the floor into the middle for Augusto. Nice job beating the pressure there by the Leroy defense. That's exactly what you want to do. Get the ball in the middle against the press. And they accomplished that to Augusto. And now a good skip pass to the short corner. And Augusto knocks it down. Beautiful look from Andrew Pocock. And we've seen Augusto camping out in that spot throughout the game. And they finally locate him, find him, and the finish. Gray knocks it down. Huge 3-pointer for Colin Gray. And it's cut to a 3-point deficit. With 38 seconds remaining and the timeout on the floor. What a shot from Colin Gray. as we put our final ad on the screen here for a few moments. And Coach, that's what big-time players do in big spots. Gray has not had the most explosive performance tonight, but he's been able to contribute throughout and come up with some big shots, none bigger than that one.
Yeah, I mean, we have Wadsworth take a quick three. I'll tell you, Nate Gardner, just off the bench, hasn't played all game. Great hustle to keep that alive. Finding Gray, and a big shot by Colin Gray. You got a senior, 10 points in the second half for Colin Gray. I mean, like we said with Harris, like, and these guys don't want to go home. Like, they're seniors. They want to make history here in Dansville, program history. Never been to a final. You know, they're gonna scrap to the end. Teams that put time, teams that are invested, are not going to roll over and just wait for this final horn. They're going to bust their butts from start to finish, no matter the score. We saw that the other night with Oakfield coming back. You're seeing it right here with Dansville. Coach Moody, again, I'll tell this, all 5 kids in the huddle of Dansville, eyes on Coach Moody, intent on what the game plan's going to be here. I would look, it looks like Holly's going to inbound. I wouldn't be surprised if it goes right back to him on this.
Good call. He gets it right back, but they take it away to the Mustangs. And it's knocked out of bounds, and Coach Moody is incensed as he believes his Mustangs should have been awarded possession on that play. And the official looking for help here, but I don't believe another official on the floor had a good angle. Dansville surely thought they should have been awarded possession on that potential steal in front of the Mustangs bench. And now a timeout being called by Leroy. Tough angle for us. We didn't get a good look at that. Only one official near the play. The other official had already cleared into the front court. So no help provided for that official, and it's tough to determine if the Mustangs do indeed have an argument there.
Yeah, probably the guy with the best view of that on the court is Coach Moody. So upset at first. He knows he's got to move on, not stick with that. Good aggressive play here. I would like to see them not guard the inbounder. I'd like to see them try to switch, and then you put a guy over the top of where they're going to screen. So this coming in from the side, you're probably going to see a cross screen of some sort. Put 2 guys front them, they go man-to-man. The guy guarding the inbound, try to read where he's going to throw it here. And then they still have the opportunity to go for the steal, then a trap. I don't say they have to foul right away. Try to get a steal, then a trap. If they don't get anything out of the first trap or the second trap, then you got to foul.
3-point lead for Leroy. 1 possession game. 34 seconds remaining. 2 seconds separating the game clock and the shot clock. The number 3 Knights looking to advance to the sectional final and take down the number 2 seeded Mustangs and move on to take on the number 6 seeded Wellsville Lions in the Class B2 final. Loose, gets it to McKenzie. Guarded in the backcourt by Wadsworth, and he tries to take the charge, but a block is called, and that will send McKenzie to the line for 2 shots, 31 seconds on the clock.
Yeah, pretty easy one. Wadsworth flopped a little bit tonight, a little late getting there. It's a pretty easy call. McKenzie's made his last 2 after missing 2 in a row. So these are big ones here. 31 seconds left, still a 1 possession game, 2 shots for him. Leroy, on the other hand, has some fouls to give.
McKenzie had regenerated his ability at the line his last trip, but once again, missing a critical free throw here down the stretch, keeping Dansville within 3. But this is the big one, Coach, to increase it to a 2-possession game.
Yeah, the Dansville crowd really into this. He's got to focus just like he did, like he's going to make it. The last one real short.
McKenzie, good adjustment, knocks it down. 2-possession game now, 30 seconds remaining. Here come the Mustangs quickly. Dixon at the rim. Reese Dixon continues to be in the right place at the right time. Hustle up and down the floor. And that cuts it to a 2-point Leroy lead. Dansville continuing to whittle away at this deficit. They have shown no quit here tonight. They've taken on the identity of their head coach.
Yeah, I mean, great job by Dixon running the floor. It's a poor job by Leroy. Somebody's got to find a guy, especially in the paint there on transition. They're not picking up full court. As soon as McKenzie makes that free throw, they should be sprinting back to the paint. maybe one guy bringing some token pressure on them, but they've got to do a better job of getting back. That's way too easy. They scored in 6 seconds. Here's where I'm talking. They should not be guarded. If Holly's going to be inbounding it, he is not a threat to catch the ball on the inbounds. I would front the first 2 guys. They've been 2 guys cross-screening. Whoever's guarding Holly, play over the top. Read those eyes of Holly and try to pick this off. Again, they don't have to foul right away. They got a chance to get a steal. They got a chance to get a trap and try to make something happen. We saw the other night at the York-Oakfield game, Oakfield made some things happen by anticipating where they're going to go for the ball. I think Dansville's second-level guys need to anticipate a little more. You still got to keep somebody back. They can go and foul somebody and put them to the line for 2, but I think they got to try to make something happen in the backcourt here, Alex.
Holly will not inbound now. Eric Luce will inbound for the Knights. Holly and McKenzie at the free throw line, stacked. McKenzie collects it, almost loses his footing, and a quick foul call called against Colin Gray. 23 seconds remaining here. That's going to send McKenzie to the line. 2-point lead. He needs both here.
Yeah, good job getting out of that. Dansville made it a little bit more difficult that time. McKenzie came back hard, used his body, make sure he caught it clean.
McKenzie no good on the first attempt. This is a big one. Can put the Knights ahead by 3. Why is the official requesting that the players on the bench sit down?
So the rule is you can have your head coach standing, and your bench can stand on the result of a fantastic play or a good play. It's the only time the bench can be standing, so nothing wrong with that. A big shot here for McKenzie. I mean, he's made the second on the last one. Crowd's getting into it here for Dansville. Leroy's got have to do a good job of keeping the ball in front. I'm not sure Dansville has any timeouts, to be honest with you.
McKenzie rattles it home. 3-point lead for the Knights. Shot clock is off. 23 seconds remaining. Wadsworth fouled on the perimeter. Clock stops with 20.5. So 2 more fouls to send Dansville into the 1-1. 5 team fouls against the Knights. And now Gray will inbound it from the side. 20 seconds remaining. Gray into Wadsworth. Dansville needs a 3 to tie. Gray tries the 3. Air ball. Saved, but no, he stepped on the line. Did Nate Gardner, and the Knights are going to take over with 12 seconds remaining, ahead by 3. Dansville will look for the steal or the quick foul, but not before Leroy calls timeout. Once again, we'd like to thank our sponsors, beginning with Orcon Industries Corporation. Request a custom packaging quote. They keep all your fragile items secure. That's Orcon Industries. Also, Bubba's Landscape Incorporated. All mulch is triple ground, Coach. It's triple ground. That's good. Brown hardwood, black diamond, red okra, mushroom compost, and topsoil available from Bubba's. 768-6578. That's 81 Lake Street in Leroy. Also, Genesee Community College. Apply for free online at genesee.edu/apply. You're hearing from 2 Genesee Community College alums, and I got to say, Coach, we sound pretty darn intelligent, so you might want to try out Genesee Community College.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just fantastic experience there. Actually, ready for this one? Intramural champions, long time ago. Merritt Holly Jr.'s father was on our team as we won it. So I would like to throw that out there. I've known Merritt Holly for a long time. Superintendent now at Leroy. He actually came back and was the principal for a little bit at Calmum. So as we got Merritt Holly standing, probably too, although I think it's more to do with comfortability. When you're 6'7", it's not easy to sit in these bleachers. So, yeah, another GCC alum as well. So good shout out for them. Hey, big possession here. If they're going to deny, Leroy might be able to hit them with a long pass here if they're jumping the top. If I'm Dansville, I try to foul before it gets in bounds if you can on somebody that you want at the line.
Here's Pocock set to inbound. 12 seconds remaining. Dansville's going to have to foul. The inbound goes to Higgins. Dansville looking for the steal, but they do reach in and commit the foul. We'd also like to thank UR Medicine Noise Health, quality care close to home. Also, Casella Waste, your #1 service provider for all your waste and recycling needs. And Summit Family Dental Care, the best dentists and staff in Livingston County, Warsaw and Geneseo locations. And last but not least, Crazy Cheap Cars, the ultimate in price and selection. Higgins knocks down the first free throw. It's a 4-point Leroy lead with 10 seconds remaining. And it looks like the Knights are going to leave a few players off the surrounding area on the lane lines as Higgins knocks down 2. 5-point lead for Leroy. 10 seconds remaining. Dansville has to go quickly, and Leroy commits a foul. Not a bad foul to commit there.
No, we talked a while back. They had fouls to give. Great use of them last possession and this possession. I'm going to tell you, I'm not sure Higgins has shot the ball yet tonight. So to go there and make both of those look so easy, big-time shots by Higgins.
Dixon set to inbound here for Dansville. 8 seconds remaining here in the fourth quarter. Dansville needs a miracle. Wadsworth catching it, going the wrong direction. Pulls up from 3, knocks it down! But the Knights don't have to inbound, and they're going to take home the win. The 3-ball from Dawson Wadsworth, and look at the Knights celebrate at midcourt as they didn't have to inbound, and the clock expires. And the Knights are marching on. Leroy with a 49-47 victory over the #2 seed Dansville Mustangs, the #3 seed Cohocton Knights, headed to the Class B2 final at Blue Cross Arena. Coach, what an effort from the Knights. Wire-to-wire victory. They led 8-0, 13-2, led by as many as 15. Dansville worked it all the way back down to 2, but the Knights proved victorious in the end.
Yeah, valiant effort by Dansville to make a comeback here, but, you know, it's tough coming back. In a game we thought would be in the 40s, it's tough to give up an 11-point lead early. And, you know, Leroy played great. Leroy got some great production from other guys besides Merritt Holly Jr. I thought Pocock had a great game for them. Augusto gave them some spark. McKenzie was solid, you know, with the ball defensively, made some big free throws for them. You know, you go through their whole lineup. I mean, they went a little deeper, too, than we normally see in the semis. And these guys all contributed defensively, rebounding. And, you know, they're excited to get back to the Blue Cross Arena. It's been 20 years now for them. Be excited to watch that game. I believe that is the 11 o'clock game on Saturday. So we'll see Wellsville and Leroy, which should be a great game.
And some news here, the Section 5 Class C finals scheduled for Friday night at Blue Cross Arena. The C1, C2, C3 finals all have been rescheduled for Sunday. First game starting at 11, 1, and then 3. And there is, I think, some trepidation that Saturday's games could perhaps be impacted due to some winter weather that's set to sweep through on Friday and maybe bleed over into Saturday. But that would certainly be a disaster for Section 5 if they were forced to move all 7 of their boys basketball games, which they've scheduled for 2 separate days at Blue Cross Arena, while they'll also have to reconfigure some girls basketball matchups. I know plenty of finals are scheduled for Rush Henrietta High School, which is not far away from Blue Cross Arena, so I imagine maybe some of those games will be moved. Also some finals in Letchworth. Maybe they'll avoid being moved because of the geographic location, but just hoping we can get all these games in at Blue Cross Arena. It's such a great opportunity for these kids to advance to the Blue Cross and show their talents in one of the greatest environments in Section 5 sports.
Yeah, I think that's like everybody's dream to play at the Big House. If you've been there and watched, like I always would encourage all my teams when we weren't playing to go and watch, the experience, watch the teams, how they're treated, how Section 5 runs the tournament. You know, whether it was Jack Purificato back in the day, now we've got Ed Stores. There's a lot of people that volunteer to make Section 5 basketball just a great opportunity for all these kids in Section 5. And, we're going to see Leroy there, and they're going to have a great opportunity to win their second sectional title in boys basketball in school history. And I know Matt Wyman's going to be ecstatic today. Tomorrow they get the day off. He'll be able to take some to the finals brunch in that Section 5 puts on, which is amazing as well. In that locker room, just pure joy. Everybody that's put a lot of heart and soul into the season get to celebrate it with a chance to play at the Blue Cross on Saturday, hopefully. On the other side, I've been in there when you lose a tough game in the semis. It's hard, especially when you look at all these seniors that they have, kids that have played hard, kids that have given up their summers and came in and shot jumpers, and whatever Coach Moody asked, they did. It's tough to look them in the eyes and talk. Sometimes you just sit there and wait till you got the words to know what to say. And I know how much this means to Coach Moody. I know how much he's put into this. Like I said, it's his 12th year. He's got them to the semifinals a few times. They're right there. They do have some kids coming back, but I think this was a great opportunity for them. And when you talk about a game that ends by 2 points, talk about those layups that they missed throughout the game a little bit, talk about some free throws, foul trouble, all those things kind of add up. And, this is sports. I mean, you're going to have a winner, you're going to have a loser. I mean, this isn't, kindergarten phys ed class where everybody ties. Unfortunately, you build off of this, and this is 2 years in a row Dansville's lost a tough game in the semifinals. So you feel for them, but you're happy for Leroy. And, I know both coaches are class acts, and, either way that's what it went. They'd wish the best for whoever won.
So certainly a tough moment for Dansville as Coach Moody and his group failed to advance to the sectional final once again. But by no means did they lack effort here tonight. They came all the way back from 15 points down, cut it to 2 down the stretch. The Mustangs deserve plenty of credit for their effort throughout the season, particularly this evening at Wayland-Cohocton. So once again, this was the Class B2 semifinal here from Wayland-Cohocton High School. Leroy advancing to the final on Saturday at Blue Cross Arena. Alex Brasky for Coach Dan Dickens signing off for the final time here on the Batavia Daily News Sports Network during this Section 5 boys and girls basketball tournaments. We do expect to be back hopefully during the state qualifying round. Just stay tuned. We'll be sending out promotions for those broadcasts if they are to take place down the road. But for the sectional finals, you can tune into the Section 5 Broadcast Network. Those games will be brought to you by Varsity Media. Full-scale productions offered of each boys basketball final. Myself and Coach Dickens will be on the call of all 3 Class C finals on Sunday, while I'm also hoping to rope Coach Dickens in to a few more broadcasts on Saturday. So you'll still hear our voice. It will be on a different network, and it will cost you a fee to watch the finals. I think it's, I'm not going to guess actually on the price, but it will cost you money to watch the finals on the Section 5 Broadcast Network, and rightfully so. Section 5 puts on a great show at the Blue Cross Arena, and they have to make up for any admission fee they may lose if fans do decide to stay home and watch the game from the comfort of their living room. So tune into the Section 5 Broadcast Network this weekend for Section 5 girls basketball and boys basketball action. Myself and Coach Dickens, along with our cohort, Mike Rose, will be on the call of several games throughout Section 5. It's an exciting time of year, and it's just getting started, it seems. So we sign off here from Wayland-Cohocton High School. Alex Brasky for Coach Dan Dickens. We'll see you next time.
So what's the 15-20? Is that unique people?